Welcome to Khilafistan. The Quran contains a chapter called Surat al-Rum, which was revealed about one of the superpowers of that time, the great Roman Empire. Not only that, but the Quran frequently discusses almost every superpower of different eras, such as Parus and Nimrod. This means that as Muslims, understanding the superpowers of our time is critical. Today, global superpower is the United States. The rise and fall of the Caliphate. We all know that after the passing of Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, his four great Khalifas turned the small Muslim empire into the world's most powerful force for the first time. However, just 30 years later, the Rashidin Khalifa came to an end and the empire fell under the control of the Umayyad dynasty. Upon taking power, the Umayyads further expanded the Islamic Empire and established a strong economy. However, during the reign of second Umayyad Khalifa Yazid bin Muawiyah, the most tragic event in Islamic history occurred, the Battle of Karbala. Yazid's force brutally murdered many members of the Prophet Muhammad family, even though the Umayyads remained in power for the next 70 years after Karbala. The sorrow of this tragedy never faded from the hearts of Muslims. Over time, as Islam spread, the grief of Karbala gradually turned into anger. Another major issue that under the Umayyads only Arabic were given respect while non-Arabs were treated as inferior. They were treated in a way similar to how Pakistanis and Indians are sometimes treated in modern Arab countries. After 70 years, these mistakes made by Umayyads too unpopular that a new dynasty, the Abbasids, found an opportunity to revolt against them. It is said that Abbasid leaders traveled from city to city, reminding people of the Karbala tragedy, which fueled hatred against the Umayyads. Eventually, the Abbasids used his anger to overthrow the Umayyads dynasty, bringing an end to their rule and establishing a new Khalifa, the Abbasi Khalifa. The persecution of the Umayyads, the first Abbasi Khalifa, ordered that every remaining member of the Umayyad family be executed, regardless of whether they were involved in the government or not. Following this order, Abbasid forces spread throughout the Islamic Empire, hunting around and killing every Umayyad they could find. Terms of thousands of Umayyads were massacred. Even this did not satisfy the Abbasids. They marched to Damascus, the Umayyad capital, where they exhumed the bodies of Umayyad rulers from their graves, flopped them and set them on fire. However, they left the grave of Umar bin Abdulaziz untouched out of respect for his just rule. The surviving Umayyads and the conquest of Spain, the few surviving members of the Umayyad family, realized that staying in the Islamic Empire was impossible. So they fled westward. The Abbasids pursued them relentlessly. The Umayyads first fled to the Egypt, then Libya, Algeria, and finally reached Morocco. But even in Morocco, they were not safe. With no other option, they crossed the sea and entered Spain, Al-Andalus, which had already been conquered by Muslims years earlier. The Umayyads regained control of Spain and established a new Umayyad rule there. For the first time in history, the Muslim world was divided into two separate empires. The Umayyads of Spain built a powerful empire in Al-Andalus, which became one of the most advanced civilizations in the world. For 18 years, no force could take Spain away from the Muslims. However, after centuries of rule, Muslim Spain was on the brink of collapse. The fall of Muslim Spain. Never Muslim Spain, there were two small Christian kingdoms that were always to war with each other. But things changed. The king Ferdinand Ferdinand of one kingdom married Queen Isabella of the other, uniting their forces against the Muslims. Together, Ferdinand and Isabella launched a campaign against the Muslims, killing hundreds of thousands and persecuting both Muslims and Jews. However, unlike today, the Muslim world at that time still had a powerful force to defend them, the Ottoman Empire. As soon as the persecution in Spain began, Ottoman Sultan Bayezid II sent his navy to rescue Muslims and Jews from Spain, welcoming them into the Ottoman Empire as full citizens. After taking them in, the Ottomans sought revenge against European forces by blocking all trade routes between Asia and Europe. Despite despite these setbacks, and European nationals did not give up. In 1492, Christian forces finally expelled the last Muslim from Spain forever. The connection between Spain fall and America discovery. The year 1492 was significant not just because Muslims lost Spain, but also because in that exact same year a Spanish explorer, Christopher Columbus, presented a unique proposal to King Ferdinand and Queen Isabella. Since the Ottomans had blocked all trade routes between Europe and Asia, European nations were struggling. Europe had no strong agricultural system, and its land produced very little. Most of its essential goods, such as spices from India and China, are now inaccessible due to Ottoman trade restrictions. This led to severe economic hardships in Europe. Spices like black pepper and cloves were crucial for both food preservation and medicine since there were no refrigerators at that time. Europeans needed a way to reach India without passing through Ottoman controlled territories. Columbus proposed to find a new route to India that the Ottomans could not control. Ferdinand and Isabella approved his idea, and Columbus set sail with three ships. After 36 days of travel, he reached Danish land, where he saw brown-skinned people resembling Indians. Believing he had reached India, he called them Indians, a name that remains to this day. However, Columbus was wrong. Years later, another explorer, Amerigo Vespucci, confirmed that this is not India, but an entirely new continent. This is why the continent is now called America, after Amerigo. The rise of America and the decline of Muslim power. After Columbus, Spanish settlers arrived in the America, killing indigenous people and establishing colonies. Soon other European powers, France, Britain, and Portugal, also sent their armies to claim land in America. Until this point, Muslims had dominated world superpowers for nearly 1,000 years, from the Umayyads and Abbasids to the Ottomans, but the discovery of America marked the beginning of the decline of Muslim power. The vast lands of America were fertile and rich, but there was a problem. Europeans had wiped out most of the native population through war and disease. They needed a new labor force, one that was poor but strong. The answer was Africa. The British began capturing and transporting millions of Africans to America as slaves. Over 3.1 million Africans were forcibly brought to work on America plantations. British laws even dictated that any future children born to these slaves would also be automatically enslaved. This brutal system fueled America's economic growth. However, it eventually led to the tensions between the British rulers and American settlers, culminating in the American Revolution. To focus on India, and the British decided to withdraw their forces from America, allowing George Washington and his army to win independence. America became a free nation while the British tightened their grip on India, defeating leaders like Tipu Sultan. Over time, America established a democratic system, ensuring that no president could rule for more than 8 years, a tradition set by George Washington himself. This system of merit and innovation propelled America forward. Later, under Abraham Lincoln, America established slavery, leading to a civil war. Though the war cost millions of lives, it strengthened America industrial and military power. By the end of World War One and World War Two, America emerged as world leading superpower, marking the final decline of Muslim dominance in global affairs. Thanks for watching.